engineering?
Well, certainly we have the high-level math and science classes that support the education of future engineers, and in addition, we have a lot of hands-on coursework in, I guess you could call it the science department, in the sense that we have classes like electronics, where students are doing very much hands-on work as well as the theory behind it. We have an introduction to engineering, which is a senior elective that also gives students project-based learning, both the development of projects and building them, so you get the theory and the hands-on. And we also have the capacity and teachers that were engineers in their former life, you could say, myself included, to support students to do projects like the DASH project that Mr. Silk is supporting, and to inspire students to push their education there. I could go down the list. There's classes like groups like robotics that give hands-on experience, and our experience has shown that students thrive in this environment and do quite well in engineering at the college level. So,
how is Harker Energy efficient?
It's a good question. I think that we're in a growth phase right now, and we are slowly remaking the campus. Our facilities manager, Mike Bissoni, is a huge supporter of really all things green. And you look at the newest building, Nichols Hall, with PV panels on the roof, all sorts of great energy-saving cooling devices. Our architect is on board. The engineering class that I teach, we put PV panels on the roof of Dobbins Hall that run to a very specific bank of outlets for the students in that class, so they can charge laptops. And actually, the teacher that's in that classroom now runs everything at her desk off the PV system with the battery backup. So we've got some very specific things going on. I know there were also some other students who were running a project putting smart meters on campus.
Okay, so recently, do you see that the faculty tend to drive more fuel efficiently, or, like, for example, do you see trends in that more people are getting hybrid vehicles?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's no question. I mean, even just the fact that our campus has the HEV, the high efficiency vehicle parking spots, and designated for those vehicles, and they are filled.
Okay. So what do you do personally to drive more fuel efficiently?
I start in third gear. No. I live 3.5 miles from campus, and I think actually more so than any kind of efficiency that you can work on, if you can just reduce, right? Part of that reduce, reuse, and recycle, right? So living 3.5 miles from campus is, I think, the best way to reduce your footprint. And obviously not everybody can do that, but it was a significant decision factor that we did in terms of when we bought a house after I started working here at Harker, my wife as well. And for us, it's great. It's a 10-minute commute down no highways, and I'm home in a snap. Ideally, I'd be driving a 100% electric vehicle, in the sense that I'm the perfect candidate for that. I've got a 7.5 mile, give or take, round trip commute. I mean, any pure electric vehicle could do that. So by the time my car is I'm in death mode and I'm replacing it, maybe that may be where we go.
Okay, so if you made a green car for the future, what kind of functions would you include?
That's a great question. For starters, it would be pure electric. There's no question. I think that the hybrid was a band-aid. And when you look at a car like the Prius, which has great popularity, 55 miles per gallon efficiency, if you took off the electric motor and just drove it on gas, it probably gets 45 miles a gallon. The hybrid aspect of it is it's almost like just for promotions, really. It's the fact that it's a small, efficient car. Aerodynamic car. So I would make it pure electric, and of course the other side of that has to be that when you're charging it at night, that you're not charging it based off coal-fired power plants, which is what in California, at least 60% of our electricity comes from coal. So if you really want to clean the process up, you need to be able to purchase your electricity for your house either from a green energy supplier, or you need to have your own PV panels on your roof that are either feeding the grid during the day or feeding a battery that then charges your car battery at night. And then what you realize after all this is that it's so battery dependent. And we haven't quite gotten to the point where the Priuses, which have been super popular, are running out of batteries. Their batteries are going to charge, and people are going to have to chuck the batteries and buy new ones. We're not sure how much that's going to cost and what the environmental disaster is going to be like when that day comes. It's soon though, because I don't know what year the first round of Priuses were, but it's coming up fast, and that's a lot of batteries. So in terms of, to answer that question, I think that an efficient battery that can do some major cycling through charges and lasts a long time, and also of course gives you the range, because not everybody needs a 7.5 mile range. Most people need a lot more than that in order for it to be marketable.
What's your average velocity?
So driving to school, I'd have to integrate and divide by the. No, I'm just
yes. Valley theorem.
Exactly. Good. Very nice. Driving to school, I would say the maximum I get to is 45 because I'm driving surface streets. Average, depends if I hit the lights, obviously, but I would say that it's probably the average would probably be in the mid 20s, maybe high 20s if I'm lucky.
How often do you check your RPM?
I could say almost never will look at it when I'm driving. I do drive a stick shift though, and so the way I learned how to drive a stick shifting wise is by listening. Oh. So I can definitely tell you if I'm getting up in the RPMs, because it's like, yeah, time to shift.
When is the last time you checked your tire pressure?
That's a great question. I should check it more. I know I should. It has been a while, and I know pretty much it should be every time that I fill up with gas, but it's not, so it's probably been a year. There's certainly a visual check that I do, but I realize with most tires that's not going to be enough. So, and for me, it's actually, there's the putting enough air in there, keeping the pressure right, but it's also keeping it balanced, so you get the wear and tear even. And there's double consideration. But not enough is the answer. I should do it more often.